Hello everybody and welcome to the channel and Happy New Year! My name is Plami and in this video I'm gonna be sharing my top 20 K-pop title tracks of 2020. I've been planning to do this video for pretty much most of this year because I did do a video similar to this one last year, although I don't remember exactly at what point I did it, whether it was before New Year's or after. I just remember that I did one. So I've decided why not do another one for this year, and because it's 2020 and because 20 songs is not too much, I decided to do top 20 K-pop songs, because otherwise it probably was going to be similar to last year, 15 or maybe just simply 10. But there was also quite a lot of really good songs released this year. Although, in a way, you can also take mainly the top 10 songs as this video's focus, because I really had to try and decide which songs I prefer in terms of the top 10 songs. It was very hard to pick them out, but for the ones from 10 to 20, there's a little bit more of a, how to say it, I was a little bit more lenient towards those. So there are some songs which I don't necessarily think was the best of the group, but I just wanted to put them in the top list because I really like that song, although I just don't think it's the best song that the group has released. So yeah, before we get into the video though, I just want to say if you end up enjoying it, or you simply enjoy any of my other videos, I would really appreciate it if you go to my Patreon and donate as a means to support me and support the channel, and maybe even support me for my stories that I write, because in addition to doing all the videos on the YouTube channel, I'm also a writer. But if you don't want to do it, I don't want to guilt trip you or anything like that, especially on New Year's Day. So if you don't want to do it, that's completely fine. But at the very least, it would really help out if you like this video, subscribe to the channel, or share this video with somebody who you think might enjoy it. But anyway, let's get what you're here for actually, that is the top 20 list. And one rule that I think I should make sure that you know of is that I've restricted it to only one song per group, because otherwise, if I gotta be honest, I would probably just stack the top 20 list with Stray Kids, 80s, and NCT songs all through, because those are some of my favorite releases by those groups this year. But yeah, I guess without further ado, let's just start off with the first one. And at number 20, we're having Not By The Moon by GOT7. And yeah, I actually surprisingly like this song quite a lot. I've had some problem with getting into GOT7's most recent few tracks before Not By The Moon, and I actually still am yet to react to their most recent comeback, but I don't really think, judging by the name of it and the vibe that I'm getting from the thumbnails and little bits that I've seen from the music video, that it's going to be better than Not By The Moon, because even for Not By The Moon, I'm not really completely all over the song. I still think it's much worse, or at least less appealing to me than their older title tracks like Never Ever or Heart Carry. Those are some of my favorite songs from them. But I actually ended up listening to it quite a lot this year. It's probably, if we go by in terms of how much I listen to this song, it's going to be definitely in the top 10 songs that I've listened to the most this year. But this is more of a quality kind of listing, so it is at number 20 because of that. But I still really like the song, and it still was better than their last few comebacks. Because for the last few comebacks, I feel like it was just very forgettable. I think I even might have reacted to the subunit with JB and Yugyeom, I believe it was. They released a song, and honestly, I couldn't even remember it right after listening to it and watching the music videos. So that's kind of how I felt for their last few comebacks, I feel like, more or less for each song. But yeah, I still enjoyed the song quite a lot. But now we're gonna be moving to number 19. And at number 19 is a song which honestly I could have put higher because I actually really loved it when I reacted to it. But at number 19 is going to be Bad Guy by Wanda 9. Yeah, I really like this song actually. At first when I was reacting to Wanda 9, I was a little bit lukewarm towards the music. I think I reacted to their first song, or at least pre-debut or some kind of song like that I wasn't too impressed by. But then they came back with Blah, I believe it was, and I really loved that song. And Bad Guy was even better than that one. And I actually really was impressed and blown away by how good it was and how much I enjoyed it. So I could have easily put it higher on this list. But as I said, for the songs from the number 10 to number 20, I wasn't really caring too much on which position I was putting them. More of just putting them on the list in a way, because I wanted representation for those songs. But still, I really like that song, and I think it's a really good song. And it's a shame that at this point Wanda 9 had to disband, because they were like a produced kind of group or whatever. And I think maybe because of COVID-19 their promotion time also was cut short, but I'm not sure about that. But still, I really like that song, and I definitely thought that it deserves a spot on this list. So we are at number 18, and for number 18 we're gonna be having an actually recent release, or at least I reacted to it recently, that being Different's Mago. You can check out my reaction to it that I did very recently to see the full picture about how I feel about this song. But to put it relatively short, I'm not sure necessarily whether I'm happy or into the change in direction for G-Friend, but at the very least I like this song actually quite a lot. I found it pretty catchy, and it was weirdly more, I don't know, welcoming than Apple, because Apple was still done in this same kind of style or genre, but I feel like for this one it was like as if with Apple they kind of ended up pushing some people away, and in this one they decided to be okay, let's hold ourselves back a little bit but still do the same concept. So I actually managed to enjoy it much more than Apple, but I'm still not sure ultimately whether I'm in for this change in Different, even though I did complain about like their release right before Apple, which was I think in early spring. I did complain about the song being very forgettable, so hey. And at number 17 we're gonna be having something that most of you maybe haven't even heard of, because it is coming from a Nugu group, and that is Yes Sir by Third Eye. And Third Eye is a group that I found out thanks to doing these reactions on YouTube. I most likely would have never found them out if I wasn't doing this, because with doing these reactions, at first a lot of people were requesting me a lot of different things to react to, and then I was just stumbling upon many different groups because I was searching for K-pop songs to react to. And I stumbled upon this group, and I believe The first song of theirs that I checked out was Do My Thing, which is a really good song. And this year they came back with Yes Sir, which is probably my favorite song of theirs because it just hits so hard, especially with the choreo during the chorus. It's such a overall really good song. Like, it uses the instrumental, the singing, and the talents of the members and the dancing to make such a well-encompassing song. And I'm saying that it is my favorite, not the best that they've come back with, because I feel like their song Out of My Mind is a little bit better because it feels a little bit more sophisticated. But that song wasn't released this year, and I wanted to include a song by this group this year, so hey, that was the one that I could include. And I really hope this group never, or at least doesn't disband anytime soon, because I really like them and their music appeals to me so much. I love them. So if you haven't checked them out before, definitely you should check them out if you are into this kind of music. Or at the very least, check out Out of My Mind, because that song is really good. And by the way, for this album in which this song was released, they had a couple of B-sides which have a completely different feeling from this song, so check those out as well, and maybe check out my reaction to see how I felt about it, because I was blown away by how good it was. And this group's album might actually end up in my top 20 albums of 2020, which is a video that I'm going to do at some point in the next few months. Not right now, because I'm kind of busy with a lot of different types of content, and I just don't have the time to do it for like New Year's as I'm doing this, but I will be doing that, especially because I also haven't checked out every single album of 2020. I'm so far behind. I'm like 6 months behind at this point, so it's probably gonna be a while now that I think about it. But yeah, Third Eye is a really good group and have a lot of good music, so definitely check them out. So at number 16, we are gonna be having ITZY's Wannabe. And yeah, if you check out my reaction to this song, you will see that at first I wasn't the biggest fan of this song. I thought it was good, but it didn't quite have the energy and the impact of the other two songs, their previous two songs, which were the debut song Dala Dala and I believe I don't even remember what's the name of the other song that I came back with, but I love those two songs quite a lot. And for this one, at first, it felt a little bit too sad, dark, and moody. I think that's the things that put me off of the song at first. But funnily enough, those are the things that make me love it so much right now. And in a way, it was a little bit of a tough choice between Not Shy and this song, but I feel like this one just feels a little bit more sophisticated, whether it's because of the darkness and moodiness that it has in its sounds, but it just felt more like it deserved it. And I guess also the iconic shoulder dance comes from this song, so it's a good thing that I gave it to it. But yeah, I feel like just this one had more of an impact for them, because Not Shy is a good song, although at first it was a little weird to get into. It felt like it could have easily crossed into annoying, or at least for me, but I ended up liking it as quite a lot as well. But this one I just feel like had much more of an impact for them and for K-pop in general. At number 15, we're gonna be having 17's Left and Right. Left and right, 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 left and right. 기분 좋을 땐 걱정 없이 저도 확실하게 follow me. Left and right, left and right, left and I gotta say, well, their last few releases before Left and Right haven't been the worst thing ever, and in a way should have been actually something that I really liked, because they kind of started doing the more hard-hitting music that I've loved hearing from other groups like NCT, Stray Kids, yada yada. But I felt like that kind of music that they were doing with, like, I believe the song is called Fear, and I think there was another one as well, I just didn't vibe with it, and I feel like it didn't fit them. They have a very distinct style, even though they keep changing like the things that they do with their music. I feel like there's still a distinct 17 personality with their music, and I feel like they kind of lost that with those songs. So in a way, the last truly 17 song that I really liked was, I believe, Oh My, which was in like 2018. So for 2019, I wasn't the biggest fan of 17, but this year they came back with Left and Right, and I goddamn love this song. It's such a catchy, classic 17 kind of song. I just love it so much. It's funky, it's catchy, and it has great vocals and rap as well. Like, it's such a 17 song. That's the kind of 17 that I love. I still, as I said, don't hate the things that they did between Oh My and this song, but this just feels like the 17 that I know and love, or at least knew and loved, maybe, in a way. So I definitely felt like it should have been added to here. It's just, in a way, another jumping on point for me to get into 17 again, because with these kind of groups, with some of these groups from the third generation, like this group and Monster X, I think might be another example, I'm more of a casual fan of those, even though I've listened to them for such a long time, and I always take them for granted. And I always kind of end up jumping into their music and jumping out and jumping in and jumping out. Less so with Monster X, but it still applies to them as well. So I felt like this song deserved to be on this list, because it was like one of those songs that sucks me back into liking a group. So yeah, I definitely thought it deserved it. And at number 14, we're gonna be having Pentagon's Dr. Bebe. And if you've been following my reaction since I started my YouTube channel, I've mentioned, I think at least in the early videos, that when Pentagon debuted, I actually didn't realize that they were a newly debuted group when I found them out for the first time. But when they debuted with Gorilla, I fucking loved that song. I loved it. I listened to it so much. But afterwards, until like, I don't know, early 2019, I kind of completely forgot that they existed. Like, I completely forgot they were a thing, and maybe I thought that maybe they ended up disbanding or just disappearing like another group that I really liked by the name of MVP. Check them out. Their debut song is such a good song, but it's a shame that they kind of went into the ether. So with the comebacks that they had in the time that I wasn't really focusing on them that much and thought that they completely disappeared, after reacting to them, I wasn't the biggest fan of those, and it just was too happy and cutesy and fun, but not in a way that I liked it. So it really surprised me when they came back with such a good and deep and dark song like Dr. Bebe, and it hits hard as well. Like, it's such a great, all-encompassing kind of song that I genuinely did not expect was going to be as good as it actually was. Because I believe I mildly liked their previous comeback before that, so I don't know, it just shocked me and blew me away how good of a song it is. And it's probably either my favorite or second favorite. I would probably say my second favorite song by them, because Gorilla is just more of a nostalgic song at this point for me because it reminds me of the time in 2017, which was one of my favorite years ever that I've lived through. Um, and if we ignore that, I would say that Dr. Baby is probably better, but still I would put it at the second place there. But in this case, it's at number 14, which I feel like is a good position to put it because I really liked it. At number 13, we have a little bit of an interesting song, that being Dechita by Suga from BTS. I was debating whether I wanted to add this song to this list. Not necessarily because I hated it, because I actually really like the song, especially in comparison to the rest BTS released this year, but it wasn't as good as his previous solo song that he did in, like, I believe it was like 2016, 2017, when he released his mixtape August D. Because that one was done in the style of BTS music that they were doing back then, it felt more genuine, which is a complaint that I've had about BTS's music for a long time now. I've pretty much said that in every video that I've talked about BTS. I had some relation to BTS ever since I started my channel. But ignoring all the preconceived biases I have for this song, it is a genuinely good song. It's hard-hitting, it's catchy, it's great rapping, the music video is amazing, it's really good, it's definitely one of my favorite music videos this year. And I ended up listening to the song quite a lot as well. The only complaint that I might have for this song is that it maybe goes a little bit too hard and it doesn't really have a melodic flow to it. Like, it goes too hard to the point where at this point, after listening to it so much, I just feel like it's too rough for me to listen to. Like, it's not satisfying to listen to it anymore. It's kind of too hard in a way. And while his previous song, August D, same title as his name, wasn't really that melodic either, I just feel like the flow of it just wasn't as hard as this one. And that could be a personal preference, because like when I listened to it for the first time to Dechita, I liked it a lot, and for the longest time I liked it, but at this point in this day and age, I just feel like it's a little bit too hard for me to listen to all the time. But I still liked it, and I definitely am glad that I put it to this list, because it definitely deserves to be considered one of the best songs released this year. At number 12, we're gonna be having a song by a girl group that you probably haven't heard of, because they're not really the biggest group ever. Like, they're actually pretty unknown, I would say. And that song is the song Girls by the group Nature. For those of you who don't know, they are a girl group. I'm not sure under which entertainment, but they're a pretty small girl group, and this song was surprisingly good. Like, the previous comeback that they had was another pretty good song called Oopsie My Bad, and I think I even liked it a lot in my reaction, because I did react to it. But this song just feels so much more sophisticated, and I just love the darkness and the horror of it. If you haven't seen this song, you should definitely check it out, because it is a really good song. And I don't want to spoil about it too much, but it was a really surprisingly dark and sophisticated song. I just really liked it, and I don't have too much to say about it, but it was a very different kind of song compared to Oopsie My Bad, because I would say Oopsie My Bad was your more typical K-pop song, while this one felt like much more trying something different in a way, and it was much more melodic compared to Oopsie My Bad, because Oopsie My Bad also felt a little bit more of like with more of an experimental song structure, and it was, I feel like, much more rap based compared to this one. But honestly, both of them are really good songs, but since this one was the one released this year, I had to add it because it's such a good song, and it's one of the best songs this year for sure. Even though I haven't listened to it that much, but it's just the kind of song that it's pretty heavy to listen to all the time. It's not the kind of song that you replay constantly, but it's the kind of song that you really love after listening to. At number 11, we're gonna be having a song by another Nugu group. Yeah, there's actually quite a few songs in this that are from Nugu groups or other kinds of groups that I'm gonna get into with the next song. And the song is called Made for Two by the group BAV. BAV have been rising in popularity from what I've seen. I can't say for sure because their album sales don't really seem that much higher, neither do their views on YouTube, but they're actually surprisingly high for the level of Nugu-ness that this group is at otherwise. But they've actually been releasing solid songs for quite a few years at this point. Because if you don't know anything about this group, they debuted, I believe, in like 2016 or 2017, and their debut was trash. No offense to anybody who likes this group or maybe likes the debut song, but it was trash. And it was mainly the production of the song that was trash, because the guys or their style is not really trash. It's just the production was really bad. And I might end up reacting to the song in full on my YouTube channel at some point, because I don't believe I've reacted to it before, and I haven't really even seen it that much. But it was a really bad song. And afterwards, I feel like they added a bunch of members or something, or just changed some of the members, and they changed their sound as well and became so much better. Like, they're genuinely one of my favorite groups. For me, in terms of how much I like them, they're up there with the groups like ATEEZ and Stray Kids. They're probably top 5, I would say. It's hard to say because I haven't really ever sat down and decided which are my top 5 boy groups, but they're definitely up there. And I honestly like VAV's B-sides more than I do ATEEZ's in a way. Like, if you've listened to VAV's B-sides, you'll know what I'm talking about. But they have so many good songs, like Gorgeous, like Señorita, Give Me More, Poison, Thriller Killer. There's so many, and as I said, their B-sides are amazing as well. And for this song, I was actually expecting not to like it too much because it seemed like it was going to be more of like a ballad-leaning kind of song, but it was actually surprisingly good, and I enjoyed it so much. Because even though it was much more singing-based and more melody-focused compared to their last few releases, it's still like the vocals of like Made for Two. It just hits you deep into your heart, and I just love it so much. And the rapping as well, even though I would probably say that this is not the best rapping, but I'm also more of a specific kind of rapping kind of fan. Like, I prefer a specific style of rapping which flows together with the song compared to what they've done in this one. It was a really good song still, and It just barely missed onto the top 10 list, and that is because all the songs in the top 10 list are just that fucking good. That's the only reason why I didn't get higher, because otherwise it would have. It's probably their most sophisticated song in a way, but still, I really liked it, and I definitely think you should check it out. So yeah, we're finally getting to what you're really excited for. That is the top 10 songs of this year. And this was a pretty tough time. I had a pretty tough time putting this together because I love so many songs that weren't even in this list. And some of them were songs that I was considering to put in the top 10, but they just didn't make the cut because of reasons like the fact that maybe the comeback of the group or the debut of the group didn't really feel iconic enough to warrant being in a top 20 list, even though it was really good. Like, for example, P1 Harmony's debut song Siren. I really like that song. I considered adding it to this list, but I don't really feel like it quite managed to be that iconic, even though I really liked it. So yeah, for number 10, we're gonna be having something that really blew my mind. That is the pre-debut song My Heart Skip a Beat by Purple Kiss.
My heart skip a beat.
Purple Kiss, for those of you who don't know, is going to be the young sibling group to Mamamoo. They are coming from the same company as them, Rainbow Bridge World, I believe it's its name. And I did not expect anything like this from them. I've been keeping an eye out for them because they've been promoted pre-debut for quite a long time. I feel like they've been promoted for most of this year, so I've been keeping an eye out for them and waiting for their debut. And they will be debuting, I believe, in early 2021, and I can't wait for that debut. But I did not expect anything this good from them, or in this style as well, and definitely not for a pre-debut song. For me, they're right now kind of like a Stray Kids level of how much I'm into them, because Stray Kids also had some really cool pre-debut tracks that I really like Grrr. But I did not expect how good this song was. And I know that they have a bunch of other pre-debut releases as well that I'm going to be reacting to at some point. That those releases are completely different from this, and that they're probably going to be debuting with something very different as well. I'm just in love with this song and the way it is, cause especially in the chorus, it's very reminiscent of the style that Dreamcatcher does, with like the rock sound and everything, and I love that. I want more groups to do this kind of music. There was another group that I reacted to in Top 1 in 2019, and I'm pretty sure that I even added their song to my top 15 songs of 2019. I'm just forgetting their name right now, but their name is Pink Fantasy, and they came back with a song called Fantasy, and it's such a good song. Like, I love that song. You can check out my reaction to it. You can check out my top 15 songs of 2020 if you want to see why I added it to that. But it's such a good song. It's a really good song. And this one was kind of emulating, for me at least, the Dreamcatcher sound as well, which I actually ended up liking this song much more than probably I would have. Because for this year, I feel like Dreamcatcher has moved a little away from the more rock sounds. They still do them. There was still plenty of rock sounds in Boca and Scream, but I feel like it was less so than previous releases. Like, for example, my favorite Dreamcatcher song is What, which is their probably their most rock heavy song. And having this song with the heavy rock sound and otherwise being very hard hitting with really cool dancing, really cool rapping, in general being a very hard hitting song, just blew me away because of Mamamoo and other RBW groups like ONEUS and WANNAWE. I expected something much more vocal based and something more similar in style to those groups. But this was nothing like those groups. It was much more rough and hard hitting, and I really liked it for that. And I realized that they're probably not gonna be debuting with this kind of style, so I'm not expecting that, but I still really like them despite that. And I'll definitely check out their debut song, and hopefully I'm gonna like it, because so far I like Mamamoo, even though I'm more of a casual fan than anything. I really like ONEUS, although it's kind of at this point mainly Lit that I really like. And I'm a pretty big fan of WANNAWE, which is probably out of those groups, I'm probably the biggest fan of WANNAWE right now. So I definitely have a tendency to like groups from RBW, so we'll see, I guess. At number 9, we're gonna be having Super M's Tiger Inside. I know that this probably is not gonna be an unpopular choice for most K-pop fans, because I think it's pretty safe to say that almost everybody loved this song, and that most people agree that it's what Super M should have debuted with. Like, it's much more sophisticated than their actual debut song, Jopping. And I still don't really hate Jopping, but I'm also not really a huge fan of it. I haven't really listened to it that much. And I know that a lot of people love Jopping because of Mark's verse in that one, which has become kind of iconic. But I wasn't really a big fan of it, and it felt very underwhelming considering what the concept of Super M was, like this big Avengers-style K-pop mashup in a way. And I feel like with this song and their following song, like One, Monster and Infinity, for which my reaction ended up being blocked for some reason, so that sucks. I reacted to that song, I loved it just as much as this song, but it got blocked, so nothing I can do about it at this point. I could edit it maybe and post just me talking about it without you being able to hear the sound, but I don't know if you would like that. So with this song, Tiger Inside, and One, Monster and Infinity, I feel like they finally hit their stride in terms of their concept, and like those songs really fit what Super M should be, in my opinion at least. It hits hard, it employs all the talent of all of the members with like really good rapping, really good vocals, really good dancing, and a really cool music video as well. Like, it's all encompassing perfect song. It's a perfect song for them. And as I said in my reaction to that song, it's what they should have debuted with. It's so much better than Jopping. It would have felt at least less underwhelming, and maybe not even underwhelming at all, maybe just whelming, because I still think I wouldn't have been really mind-blowing if they debuted with that, because I had very high expectations, and even with this being the debut song, it probably wouldn't have blown me away. But it was still a good song, and I've listened to it so much, and I'm right now listening to One, Monster and Infinity quite a lot as well. So yeah, I feel like they finally hit their stride with these songs. So I think you can definitely see why I decided to add it in the top 10 list. At number 8 is something of a last minute addition, because I kind of forgot that I reacted to this song and how much I loved it. But at number 8, we're gonna be having Twice's I Can't Stop Me.
나를 감시하는 저 spotlight 비칠수록 어둠 속으로 빨려들어 끝이 보이는데 I know it's not right. I can't stop me, can't stop me, no. 내 옆에 놓여진 이 red light 건너편에 나와 난 이미 눈에 맞춰 느끼고 싶어 짜릿한 highlight. I can't stop me, can't
since the more mature shift in their sound, I haven't really been the biggest fan of Twice. I really love every single title track and most of their B-sides pre Fancy, but from that point onwards with like Fancy, Feel Special, More and More, I don't know, something just wasn't quite there with their music and it just didn't really work for me. It wasn't bad, I still found it catchy, but there was just something about their music that was lost at that point. I don't know really what it is, but there was something lost. I can only kind of speculate that it was kind of like emotional death to their music, which is kind of funny enough because that's the reason that they kind of shifted to more of a mature sound, because until that point they were kind of doing only cutesy stuff. But weirdly enough, those cutesy songs had a weird melancholic vibe to them, and that kind of gave them a lot of depth that I feel like Fancy, Feel Special to a lesser extent, and more severely lacked. And there's other reasons like the fact that they just weren't as catchy as their previous songs, that I didn't like them. But this song, I Can't Stop Me, wow, like, you can check out my reaction. I'm so blown away even right now how good of a song it is and how much I like it. Like, it's such a good song. It feels mature, much more mature than their cutesy stuff that they did a long time ago, but it still has that melancholic and emotional feel to it. And I think that's why I love it so much. And there's another reason why I'm surprised by how much I loved it, because until I ended up reacting to it, which was about, I feel like maybe a month since the release of the music video, I had listened to the chorus of the song. So at that point, like, how catchy the chorus wasn't even going to hit me that hard. But even despite that, the song still managed to blow me away. Because with other cases from their songs, like with Fancy, if you remember the teaser for Fancy, it was basically the post-chorus hook where they go Fancy, ooh, ooh, like that part of it was the teaser. And when I listened to the full song, that was pretty much the best part of the song in a way. So I was worried that it was going to be the same for I Can't Stop Me, but it actually wasn't. This song was full on good song. Like, this wasn't just the best part of the song, the chorus. Every part of the song was just amazing and better than even what I expected it was going to be. So it really blew me away how good it was. And I haven't really listened to Cry For Me yet, but I don't really think it's probably gonna be as good as this one. But I'm glad that I actually ended up adding Twice to this list because they definitely deserve to be up there. They're one of the best groups from the third generation and one of the best K-pop groups in general. And they are one of my favorite girl groups as well. So I'm glad that they actually released a really good song that I could add to this list. Number 7. At number 7, we're gonna be having a newcomer, although I think I also added them last year as well, but hey. That being TXT with their song, Can't You See Me?
Can't you see me? My poet 그날처럼 say believe me. 불타버린 내 맘이 come and feel me. How can't you see me? My friends don't understand me, no. Can't you see me? Understand me, understand me anymore. Friends don't understand me anymore. Can't you see me? Understand me, understand me anymore. Friends don't understand me anymore.
And yeah, I think this is pretty much a consecutive addition of a song for them, because last year they came back with Runaway, I believe it's its name, and I'm pretty sure that I added that song to my top 15 K-pop songs of 2019. So it's funny because this is, I think, their follow-up comeback right after that one. And it was just such a good song. I love it. Like, I have problems with the production for TXT's music, as I do for current BTS and even ENHYPEN, and maybe a little bit for GFriend as well, because I feel like some of the production problems with BTS, TXT, and ENHYPEN also are there for GFriend's Mago as well, although not as much. I I still recognize that they're really talented performers and the singers as well. It's just that because of the autotune we can't really hear their voices that much. But even then, even with the autotune, these songs are so good that they just manage to shine through despite the autotune. And maybe a little bit because of it, but I definitely think I would have probably liked it more without the autotune. But it's still such a good song. It's such a dark and powerful song, and it's still very hard hitting as well, which is the thing that I love the most about it. That despite the fact that it's more singing based and just vocal based in general, it's still a very hard hitting song as well, which is the quality that I look for in songs the most, that it hits hard. That's what I love the most. And if I gotta be honest, Puma from them could have also easily been in place of this one, because I also have ended up listening to Puma quite a lot ever since I reacted to it, but because this is more of like title tracks kind of thing, I decided to go with this one. So Puma is probably gonna be their best B-side of this year, but it's still gonna be a while until I react to all the albums released this year, until I do that kind of video. So at number 6, we're gonna be having La Di Da by Everglow. I actually had a really hard time picking between La Di Da and Dun Dun, because both are such good songs. Like for Dun Dun, you can check out my reaction to it. I fucking love that song. It's so catchy, and the album that it came with as well is so good. It's definitely gonna be one in my top, like however albums I choose to do of 2020. It's so good. It's one of my favorite albums of 2020. And the song itself, it has such a satisfying drop. Like it's one of the most satisfying songs to listen to ever. Like if I had to rate all the K-pop songs I ever listened to, it's gonna be one of the best ever. Well, for La Di Da, it's such a, it feels just as satisfying and catchy and has a good drop as well, but it also has a cool style to it that is a little bit different from other music so far, and it's also much more fair in line distribution, which is one of the reasons why I decided to go with this song over Dun Dun, because it's just more fair to the members and it feels more like the whole group contributed to this song compared to Dun Dun, because Dun Dun is very much Mia's song, as quite a few of their songs have been until that point. But it was a very, 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 very close tie between those two songs. It could easily have gone to either of those. And if I gotta be honest, if Dun Dun was a little more fair to Onda and Yairen, I probably wouldn't have been able to choose between the two, because I believe even in my 2019 video that I did like this, there was one song or one spot that was shared between two songs. I think I might have did one, something like that. I don't remember though, it's been like a year, I'm sorry, you can check out the video to see. But it would have been very tough, because both of those songs are so good, and both are one of my, some of my favorite songs released this year, and I've listened to both songs so much. But when you have to pick between these two, it's like picking between your own children. It's just impossible. The only reason why I did is because La Di Da just had a cool style to it, and because it was more fair to the members, because otherwise both songs could have easily been, either of the songs could have been in this spot instead. Number 5. At number 5, we're gonna be having Riding by NCT Dream.
지겨나봐 이젠 우리가 방아쇠 당겨 잘 봐. 달리는 going up in it 달리는 going up in it 지금 우린 running 새롭게 날 채워 다시 새롭게 날 채워.
With this song, NCT Dream pretty much confirms itself as like my favorite NCT subunit. I instantly fell in love with them back in 2016 with Chewing Gum, and they've consistently been releasing the best title tracks for me. Like there's no single song of theirs that I do not love. Every single one of their songs I love. I love Chewing Gum, I love My First and Last, I love We Young, I believe it was called. Like they have so many songs and I love all of them. They're consistently the most likable group for me, and part of it might be because they're just like my age, especially compared to the other groups, because they're the youngest and they're pretty much around my age. Some are older, some are younger of the members, but this song was so good. And even though they started off with a more cutesy concept with Chewing Gum, they've been pretty much going for the same thing as the other entity subunits at this point. And this one, honestly, this is the best NCT song released this year. And that is, I'm saying this without even having reacted to, I think, the 2 albums that they released recently, like the whole of NCT. I haven't really paid too much attention to the album releases, honestly. I've just been so overwhelmed. But I can definitely say that this is the best song released this year. It's hard-hitting. It's honestly surprisingly good, because I never thought that NCT Dream would be able to do this kind of concept this well, because the first time that they delve into this more hard-hitting style with, like, I believe it was Go, it was weird, because at that point NCT 127 also released a song called Touch, and it almost felt like the 2 groups kind of got the song mixed up. And Touch should have been the NCT Dream song, while Go should have been the NCT 127 song. But they've honestly managed to continuously do just the best songs in this style, like Boom. I love that song. It's the first song I reacted to on my channel. You can check that out. And I fucking love that song. And I'm honestly kind of loving them more without Mark than I did when he was back in. Because I mean, it's because they kind of started doing this style more after Mark left, but yeah, I just love it. And this song is so catchy, it's so energetic, it has such good rapping and good vocals. It's such a mind-blowingly good song. I freaking loved it when it was released. It was such a good song. It's not only one of the best songs released this year, but it's one of the songs that I've listened to the most this year. It's probably top 5 songs that I've listened to this year the most. So yeah, there is your NCT subunit release for this. So, at number 4 is something that maybe some of you have been questioning whether I was going to add a song by them into this list. And maybe because I've complained about them quite a lot, maybe I wasn't going to. But because I actually ended up liking this song quite a lot, and you can see it even in my reaction, I was surprised how much I liked it. I just had to add it. Even though I had a lot of gripes with it, I just had to add it. And the song that I'm talking about is BTS On. You've heard all the complaints about BTS that I have, especially you've probably at this point heard all the complaints that I have for BTS, or at least current BTS, should I say. So I'm not gonna repeat them right now, but I wasn't really expecting to like this comeback by them. I really wasn't, because before they released Black Swan, and it really pissed me off how pretentious it was. Like, the song itself sounds pretty pretentious, but I kinda like it at this point. but the music video that they released for it, where it wasn't even the members dancing, just really pissed me off. It made me feel like BTS was trying way too hard to be pretentious and deep and everything. So I was really getting into this song and the music video with very much a closed mind, as much as I would try to say that I'm getting into it open-minded. I was expecting to hate it and trash it completely. But I actually really like the song. It's probably the song that I've listened to the most this year. Even with all my problems with it, like the goddamn autotune. It's a really good song. It's just so catchy. And similarly to Can't You See Me by TXT, despite being very vocally heavy, it still hits surprisingly hard. And the music video, I am a little bothered that it's not really high budgeted, and I don't even really like what they did with the song later on, with like the big CGI music video that they did. I feel like this music video, like the kinetic or whatever video that they did, like the one at the dam that they recorded at the dam, that it's more of a performance video, fit the song much better than the big fantasy music video that they did later on. It's just like it hits so hard, and I did not expect it to hit so hard. And at that point I was really pissed off as well by their last comeback, Boy With Love. I thought it was too cutesy, too bubblegum pop, so everything was going against this song, but I loved it. And I actually ended up liking the album that it came from quite a lot as well. And I did reactions to the album, but they got blocked by Big Hit, and they are still blocked, and I don't really just feel like unblocking them at this point. It's been a while. I might do a re-reaction to those songs at some point, but know this, I've actually ended up liking that album quite a lot after opening my mind and not really caring about the criticism that I had for it. And yeah, I actually ended up listening to this song the most this year, if I gotta be honest. It's probably in their number one or number two in terms of how much I listen to it. Because even when I don't want to listen to it, it just creeps up in the back of my head and just end up like singing it to myself. It's such a good and catchy song. If nothing else, it's just such an earworm. So it's a shame that with this song it wasn't more successful than Boy With Love, so they had to release the sellout song of Dynamite, which I hate that song. I hate it, and I will never like it. So yeah, I'm glad that despite the fact that I have problems with BTS, they still managed to release a song that I could add to my top songs of 2020 to this list. So yeah, we are finally getting at the top. So yeah, we're finally getting to the top 3 songs that were released in 2020, and it was pretty tough. These 3 groups that have released these 3 songs are pretty much my top 3 K-pop groups in general, and it was really tough to pick out which one was going to go where, because these songs they've released are the songs that I've listened to the most this year, and they're genuinely not only the best songs released this year, but some of the best songs by these groups in general. And yeah, it was really tough to pick them out, but anyway, I had to, so I did. So at number 3, we're gonna have Scream by Dreamcatcher.
Now, please, I don't want to scream. Double R's come, 눈을 뜬다. 눈을 뜬다. Please, I don't want to scream. 어떻게
Before the release of this song, Dreamcatcher had been slowly climbing up in popularity more and more and more and more, and their music videos have been also becoming much more high budgeted and much more prettier and all those things, and they really surpassed themselves with this one. It was such a good song. It's been a long time, so I don't really remember how I exactly felt about it when I first listened to it, but right now it's probably their best song, I would say. Not my favorite song by them, but it's probably their best song and their most commercially successful one. Although maybe you could say Boca was a little bit more commercially successful. But I would say Scream deserved this spot because it felt like another step in Dreamcatcher's evolution of their music. And also because Boca and Scream are kind of doing the same thing in a little bit of a different ways, and I just feel like Scream did it better than Boca. And I even said so in my reaction to Boca, that Scream did it better. But yeah, both songs are really good, and in a certain way I could have also added Boca, but I feel like just Scream is a little bit better for me. The rapping feels catchier, the singing feels catchier as well, the music video is just more hard-hitting in a way as well. The only shame about this video and this song is that Handong wasn't in the group at that point because she was stuck in China because of COVID, I believe at that point it was. Although it feels like it was like a decade ago at this point, because when I was reacting to Dreamcatcher's album, like this album, like I don't even remember COVID being too much of a thing even though it was at that point. But it's just I had such a different worries and mindset at the time, at least a little bit. But it was a really good song, and even though it's not my favorite song out of the album, because the album is a really good album, it's probably the best album of 2020 that I've seen so far. It's still a really good song, and since this is title track only, I had to add it here. And even though this is not my favorite song out of the album that it came from, it's still a really good song, and I definitely thought it deserved to be in the top 3 because Dreamcatcher is also one of my, pretty much my favorite girl group as well. So yeah, let's move on to number 2. And at number 2 we're gonna be having God's Menu by Stray Kids. This song has grown on me quite a lot. When I first reacted to it, I was a little bit more on the lukewarm side of it, because even though it was still a really good song, like I recognize that, and I love the rapping and I love the singing of it, it didn't really quite mesh together compared to some of their other title tracks, and especially their title track right before this, aka Levanter, which was a very singing based kind of song. But on the other side of things, a lot of their music is very much the kind of music which is not catchy when you first listen to it, but then it gets much more catchier the more you listen to it. Like Side Effects is like that, Double Knot is like that, so I expected it to be for this one as well, and it actually ended up being the case. It's a really good song, it's really hard-hitting. The members look the best they've ever looked, honestly, especially Hyunjin, who has really wrecked me this year. I freaking love his looks. And as we're talking about Stray Kids, I just gotta quickly say that their performance at Mama fucking blew me away. And if you've seen some of my reactions, like if you watch my videos, you might know that in terms of performances on awards show like this, I'm very hard to win over, because I feel like a lot of the time groups just kind of shove in a dance break in their song just to kind of make their song a little bit more grandeur or something like that. And it's just, I'm very hard to surprise or impress in terms of performances. but this performance of Victory Song by Stray Kids, wow. This is the best performance that I've ever seen. No questions about it. It made me love Victory Song, because before this I had heard the song before, but I honestly kind of felt like it was a little bit too much on the hip-hop side of things, and it just didn't really appeal to me. Like, it didn't manage to grab me with like the first few notes, so I hadn't listened to it before. But this version that they performed at Mama was so damn good, and I love it. And now I actually love Victory Song as well. I've listened to it so much ever since their performance of Mama, and in general their looks, their dancing, their just performance was so damn good. It was so grandiose and so good. And yeah, I really like this song, God's Menu by them. It was the beginning of this new era of Stray Kids, which, whether I like this era of Stray Kids more than the Clay era, aka the songs that they released last year, I'm not sure, because I feel like the music that they released in 2019 with Miro, Side Effects, Double Knot, Levanter, it was a little bit more distinguishable. Like, each title track was a little more distinguishable from the other ones, and it was like they were doing more different things with each one, while in the case of God's Menu and Backdoor, it feels more like they're doing just different things in the same concept in a way. Like, even their clothing, I mean, it's not the same, but it's not that different. Like, the style of it, it's not that different. And I still like Backdoor, don't get me wrong, but it's just I'm not sure whether I like this era of Stray Kids more than the previous one. But still, it's a new era. It feels like an evolution of Stray Kids, which is why I had to put this song here, because it's the beginning of the evolution. Just like how I put Miro in the top 10 list last year, I put God's Menu in this year. And yeah, I was for the longest time considering putting God's Menu as #1 song of this year, but with the comeback of one of my favorite groups ever, that song that they came back with was just that much better. So for #1, we're gonna be having 80s' Inception.
난 마치 꿈에서 꿈을 꾼 듯이 널 찾아서 헤매다 길을 잃어가 다신 깨지 못해 너란 꿈에 살아 Everyday 날 안겨줘 I'm dreaming a dream every night I'm dreaming a dream every night.
And yeah, I'm in love. I'm genuinely in love with this song. It's so damn good. Just like how Form of Therapy said, like, I really agree with his opinion on this song. Until that point, 80s just felt like they were already doing everything at a 10 out of 10. Every song they released was a 10 out of 10, title track wise at least. Because I haven't really listened to a lot of their B-sides before this album that they came back with this song, and you would think that there's nowhere to go for them in terms of improving themselves, because you would think that they're already at the top, but somehow they still manage to like surpass themselves, because this song still feels very much 80s, but it's also so much better than everything they've released so far. Like, I was blown away by how good that song was. Like, right off the bat, you just feel like they're not messing around with this song. It's just so much better. And it has that kind of feeling of like 10 out of 10 right off the bat. Like, maybe you've experienced it, like whenever you just listen to the song and you just are blown away the first second you hear it, you will feel like, this is a good one. This is one of the best songs ever. I've had it many times before with songs like Chungha's Gotta Go, BTS's Fake Love, which is what I compare this song the most, because it feels kind of reminiscent of it in a lot of ways. Not that I'm saying that ATEEZ is copying BTS or anything like that. Don't lynch me, please. But it does feel very reminiscent of it. And there's even one scene in Inception where Honjong is running in a corridor, and that's very similar to what Jungkook was doing in Fake Love. Although they end up doing very different things with it, because in Inception he's running towards a wall and he's jumping through it, while in Fake Love Jungkook is just running in a corridor with the floor falling, which is, both of these things are really cool. If anything, it might have felt inspired by it, but it's also a very different concept, because in this case it's Inception and it's about dreams and being stuck in a dream, while with Fake Love it's obviously about fake love. And some of the BTS members have said with Fake Love and some of the things in Fake Love, even they don't know exactly what they were meaning with some of the scenes. Like, for example, the scene in which J-Hope was lying on sneakers. But anyway, it's just such a good song, and I love the vocals of it. Like, everybody manages to shine in this song. It's so good. And the chorus, the goddamn chorus. Like, until this point, Say My Name was my favorite ATEEZ song, by far. When I heard Say My Name, I was blown away, and it's the song that made me an ATEEZ fan. It had the energy, the attitude, the rapping, the singing. It was so good. And the music video as well. But this one, oh my god, like, it was so much better than anything that they've released before. And in a way, I know that some of you might hate the comparison between groups. I just love comparing groups. It's easy for me to do that because it allows me to kind of understand better how I feel about a group and their songs, and why I feel about it like that way about it. So for me, in a way, Say My Name felt like reminiscent of BTS's Blood, Sweat and Tears, while Inception feels like BTS's Fake Love in a way. I don't know. I mean, to me already ATEEZ feel like spiritual successors to BTS in a way, so hey. And again, that is not to say that they're copying BTS, ripping off BTS. I am to a reasonable extent a fan of both groups. Like, I'm a huge fan of ATEEZ, and I love old BTS, pre-Boy With Love BTS. But yeah, this was such a good song. Like, you can check out my reaction to that song if you want to see more in-depth thoughts of it, because I don't want to just repeat everything that I've said, and I can't even repeat everything that I've said because it's been such a long time. But it was a really good song. I loved it, and I definitely think it deserves the #1 spot, especially because the album that it came with as well is so good. Like, it's the first album by ATEEZ that I've reacted to and that I've listened to in fully, and I loved it. So I definitely want to check out their older albums as well, because who knows what we're gonna find there. But yeah, these were my top 20 K-pop songs of 2020. I guess to give you some other songs that were considered for this list, I actually had about 45 songs that I had to bring down to 20, so I'm just gonna run through the songs that I didn't add to this. Some of those songs were Super Club by Super Junior, Without You by Golden Child, Bouncy by Rocket Punch, Moonbyul with her song Eclipse, MCND's ISH, NCT's Kick It, Wanna's A Song Written Easily, G-Idol's Oh My God, Gravity Break the Rules, Monsta X Love Killer, Hwasa's Mario was another song that I was considering adding, Weekly's Tag Me, Red Velvet Monster, Jungha Play, Treasure, I Love You, ONIF, Succumb with Swimming, Ace, Favorite Boys, COC, Helicopter, Taemin, Idea, DAV, Made for Two, Wacky Makey Cool, and Hypen, Give and Taken, Aping, Dum Dum, P1 Harmony, Siren, there's so many, and some of these, in a way, I probably should have added them instead of some of the songs that I have had here, but it's already said and done. This is my favorite songs of 2020, so this is it. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like and subscribe. Also, check out the list in the description to my Twitter if you want to follow me there, and to my Wattpad where I post my stories, because in addition to doing all these videos on my channel, I'm also a writer. And if you end up enjoying my stories, or you simply enjoy my videos, you can head over to Patreon where you can pledge your support and help keep the channel going and help support me so I can keep writing the stories you enjoy. But if you don't want to do it, that's completely fine. You can still help me out in other ways, like liking this video, subscribing, and especially sharing this video with somebody who you think might enjoy it. And I think that's pretty much it for this video, so Happy New Year, and I hope I'm gonna see you next time. Bye!